eating food for health instead of pleasure. That is a very novel concept that most people are not applying in their life. This is what I do myself is I finally eat for what is healthy for me. And yeah, there's a little bit of pleasure to some degree in some of the things, but not to the point where I was before in my life, where I was seeking pleasure in my food and I was finding instant gratification in my food and expecting that my food was going to bring me real happiness or some sense of relief when the reality was it was not, you know? When I was looking for satisfaction in my food, it was often because I didn't have satisfaction in other things in my life. If I was extremely happy with all the other things in my life, I didn't really end up caring so much about finding satisfaction in the food. So when I was depressed, I had emotional trauma. I had, this chronic illness going. I had this up and down in my symptoms. I didn't understand what was happening. I was living in a moldy house, all these things. It affected my dietary choices, right? It affected the foods I was choosing to consume, and that affected the way I felt overall. But the reality is, I had to change my relationship with food, and I had to go ahead and look at food as primarily something that was going to help me get better, not something that was going to make me feel better instantly, right? Something that in the long run was going to improve my health, not something that was going to improve the mood and the feel right this moment. And that was something that was really foreign for me because I was always looking for instant gratification, instant relief, because I didn't feel well all my life and I didn't know why. So I just kept looking for the next thing to provide me pleasure because I had no explanation for why I wasn't feeling well. Later, I realized it was food allergies, it was mold, it was trauma, it was, improper thinking, behaviors, etc. But until I realized those things, I was caught in this illusion that this was me. This was me. And I just had to search for the next thing in my life to go ahead and make up for this lack of dopamine or this lack of, feeling good. So I just kept finding the next food, the next food, next food. Next thing I knew, I was sick. And I was stuck with all these food sensitivities and food cravings. And I couldn't eat all the foods that brought me comfort before. And it gave me emotional panic attacks. I mean, I was freaking out. Oh my God, I can't eat meat. I can't eat wheat. I can't eat, how am I going to exist without wheat? How am I going to exist without eating almonds and all these things? It would freak me out because I had to give these foods up. But the reality was, eventually, I learned to pay attention to how these foods were affecting how I was feeling and then make the decision based upon that. Say, okay, I'm not going to eat that because it made me feel unwell last time. And I changed the relationship I have with the food and said, okay, I'm going to remove it and then I'm going to add it back in a few months. I'm going to try a little bit of it. If I start to feel like I crave it or I can't control myself around it, then I'm going to remove it because that's a sign you're developing an immune sensitivity to the food. And this is the common thing that you see with people who have issues is they draw themselves back to the foods over and over again that cause them issues. And if you ask them, hey, what's the food that you like the most in your diet? Oh, it's the meat. Oh, it's the eggs. Oh, it's the dairy. It's the gluten. It's the processed food. It's all the things that trigger you. You know what I mean? So if you want to be able to heal, you got to understand that the things you crave are often the things that are bad for you, right? So you can't keep going to the foods that provide you instant gratification. It will keep causing these symptoms to keep resurfacing. And this is a cycle I was caught in for a decade. So you got to choose to eat for health and don't eat for cravings. You eat for the food that you know is healthy, the things like your fruits, vegetables, your rice, your potatoes, your beans, your lentils, your tofu, your vegetarian protein sources that don't have 20 ingredients in them, those things, little bits of meat, maybe little bits of cheese, maybe little bits of eggs here and there, but not all the time. You got to be able to get the benefits from the animal products, but not overdo it. Every single day is not necessary for animal products. You don't have to do that. If you want to, just do small amounts, reduce it, and start to get diversity in the plant fiber. That's what's going to get you healthy. That's what's going to detox your body. It's what's going to change the pH inside your body. That's what's going to go ahead and feed the good bacteria in your stomach. This is how it works. So if you want to eat for healing, you got to eat based upon what the good long-term plan is, not what feels good right now. And this was extremely difficult for me, but trust me, this is what you need to heal from chronic illness, from trauma. And you got to find satisfaction in other things in your life. And if you don't find satisfaction in your diet as much, you don't find as much instant gratification, then you will find the satisfaction elsewhere in your diet, elsewhere in your life, I'm sorry. Trust me, you'll start looking for it elsewhere and you'll find even more satisfaction there because you're not draining your dopamine every time you're getting this instant fix from the food. Thanks for watching. Go to my website, endsickness.org. I get hundreds of articles, hundreds of videos on there teaching you how to heal. Take care.